Data destruction and disposal. In this lesson, we're going to cover ways to properly destroy or get rid of or dispose of hard drives and containers that contain important and sensitive data. So let's go and get started. Destruction and disposable methods. As we've learned in previous lessons, our systems and devices not only access tremendous amounts of sensitive data, but more importantly, store that sensitive information. All this information is in our hard drives. Whether that drive is a traditional magnetic drive or a solid state drive, there's tons of information stored in our devices. Our computers and mobile devices are not the only source. There are other sources, such as printers that have hard drives, storage devices, both consumer and enterprise, electronics, and others. If that data were to fall in the wrong hands, the risk could be from a minor inconvenience to lawsuits for not properly protecting that data. So we're going to cover different areas in this lesson of proper ways to destroy that data or sanitation or even formatting. Now, one thing to remember for the exam is that the most forms of formatting include the operating system do not actually erase that data completely. So, first of all, let's look at physical destruction, ways to physically destruct hard drives. Certain methods or certain common or different methods here. The first one would be drilling. A drilling is an effective, low cost, but time consuming method. The goal is to destroy the platters that contain the data. Um, drilling through the case and into the platters and out of the platters is one effective way. Or you could remove your hard drive case and drill directly into the platters. Another common method is to sand or grind down the platters to remove the tracks that actually contain the data. See, all you can see these are time consuming, but they're low cost way of doing this. Another method of destroying those hard drives, it would be shredding. Now, this is the most effective, but it's also the most expensive. Disk is shredded into pieces that it cannot be used afterwards. If you've ever seen a paper shredder in an office, think about taking a CD-ROM or DVD and running it through a paper shredder. It will grind it up. Now, if you think of a more intensive device that can actually take on the actual hard drive and do the same thing. That's what these shredding devices are. Again, it's a more expensive way to handle it, but it is very effective. Normally outsource or you can purchase those devices, and they start off around $30,000. It is specialized machinery. Another method is incinerating that device. Burn the disk using accelerant. Now, this is a very low cost, but you have to be careful with this one because you're dealing with fire and you're dealing with accelerants. So could be a dangerous solution. Now, recycling or repurposing best practices. Sometimes you may not want to destroy that disk, but you want to recycle or repurpose those hard drives. You have to take some steps here because that data may not all totally be gone. Erasing or wiping. If it's possible to verify data is no longer available, if that disk were to be repurposed, like donating it to a school, even employees of your organization, and you have critical information on there. Now, if you can ensure that that data is gone, you may go this route. There are specialized utilities to wipe that disk clean. But if you can't verify that that information is totally gone, or you can't risk the chance, don't repurpose it. Destroy it. That's the best option there. Now, there's different levels of formatting your disk. There's a low level and there is a standard formatting level. The standard is accomplished with the operating system. Basically, it marks the space that it's available without truly deleting the underlying data. So it's marked the space that's available to write to, so you can write to that, but that underlying data is still there. So it doesn't guarantee that the data is gone. However, there is also a low level. The low level completely wipe the disk clean. This process ensures that the data is not going to fall into the wrong hands. So this is probably one of the strongest and most sure ways of repurposing a drive is using a low level type of formatting. Now, we can outsource this, which we talked about briefly in the other examples. There's third-party vendors out there that have destruction services. They may have paper and shredding type services. Some will handle hard drives as well, shredding, wiping, or other destructive methods. They also will inform you of different methods and procedures they follow them. One of them would be a secure chain of custody. Once they get that hard drive into their possession, they can validate as far as what hands that hard drive went through before it was damaged. You may need that for auditing purposes. They will also provide you a certificate of destruction or recycling, a certificate verifying the asset was properly destroyed. And this may be required for audit purposes as well. And it usually contains serial numbers and a type of destruction that was performed on that device. So this was different ways of properly destroying that sensitive data that we've been so much talking about in previous lessons and how to protect it. If you had to destroy the hard drives that the data was on, this is the ways that you would do that. I want to thank you for joining me for this lesson, and I will see you in the next lesson.